ladies and gentlemen, as we talk in relation to the Japanese garden at Mount Coot-tha. And in this final YouTube, we're going to be talking and trying to get a bit of an understanding of the differences, and I'll be putting in some photos that Lawrie's given me, which are really superb photos of the Japanese gardens as it was at Expo 88. And so, Lawrie, it's obviously a different and enhanced garden to an extent. Can you just give us a little bit of a feel as to what actually changed between the Expo 88 setting and how it ended up at Mount Coot-tha?
Right. Okay. Well, what we had at Expo was the Japan Precinct, which was around the section of the shores of the Pacific Lagoon, because you know, both gardens had a sort of a water frontage of sorts, and the pavilion garden, which was obviously directly related to the pavilion, it was the garden that was right there that you went through as you went into the pavilion. But beside that, as you emerged, was the Japanese restaurant right on that peninsula that jutted out into the Pacific Lagoon. The Soraya, I think I've got the right pronunciation for that, was a wonderful restaurant where you could really sample the best cuisine from Japan in that wonderful little building that was so successful. It ultimately went to Yupun, to the Iwasaki development up there. So you remember that, no doubt, up there, seeing it. And now, the pavilion garden had a lake, an arm of the lake, a little inlet from the main lagoon, and the pavilion was right beside that, and so that it gave you that lovely setting. You looked across this little lagoon to the pavilion. There's a series of stepping stones that you could take, although there's a traditional little rock there. I'm just looking at one photo there, which they tie a knot and a fibre on, and that says don't walk on the stepping stones, but I think a lot of people did do that, and that stepping stone area is still there at Mount Coot-tha. And the restaurant garden was basically a very traditional clipped azalea garden. That was the one section that was a little different to the other. The two areas were quite distinct. And it had a special timber bridge we designed that arches over, and the stone lanterns and the little waterway running through and so on. So it was a great approach into the restaurant. And so elements of both those two gardens were taken to Mount Coot-tha. And so the garden that's there today is maybe twice the size of what you would probably remember as the garden right beside the pavilion, because it combined the two. And they worked very well because the same rock that Kenzo Ogata, the Japanese landscape architect, used, we used the same rocks so that they're all tied in together. And yeah, so it was just a wonderful opportunity to integrate those two together and just create this wonderful little Japanese traditional precinct in Expo.
And piece of paradise. And Lawrie, there's one of the features that we really love about the Mount Coot-tha Gardens is the water running.
It's actually in the restaurant garden. Now, whether it's the same one, but I'm just looking now, and it was a special rock that had been hollowed out to take that little receptacle of water, and then the bamboo takes the water into it, and they usually pivot, and it's a special Japanese element that gives that clicking noise of bamboo on rock and water flowing into the little receptacle there, and then it flows out into the gravel and percolates along the waterway. So yeah, it was certainly there as you entered the restaurant, and I like to think that it was, I'm sure it was, just taken to Mount Coot-tha along with everything else.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Lawrie. Leanne, your thought, that I know that you like walking, particularly colourfully dressed when you walk through.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
And I'll put a little clip in so people appreciate what I'm talking about.
Hands first, and then I heard your voice.
Children used to refer to those as my clown plants, my clown pants. Oh, Mum, please don't wear those clown pants out. But I liked them and they were very comfortable. Say how important I think it is that the garden is in the gardens. And I'm sure Lawrie would agree that the Botanic Gardens is such a significant part of Brisbane. And I think it's wonderful now we have those Botanic Gardens, different from the ones in the city, which are my favourite gardens, the ones in the city, the old gardens, the heritage gardens, but all the gardens reflect who we are as a city, and very important to keep those really good elements going forever.
That's right, yeah. I
So
agree,
thank you, and thank you, Lawrie, as well, for what you did then and what you continue to do.
Yeah, well, that was great. And Expo was the stimulus that resulted in, for instance, Roma Street Parkland. I think without Expo, Roma Street Parkland would never have eventuated.
And the wonderful statues we have all around, we get the statues all around the city.
That's right,
As a result.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
It's a wonderful time.
it is indeed. All right. So again, thank you to both of you, and good morning to the listeners. And we've just gone past, Celine, you'll be happy to know, some 40-odd thousand viewers.
Oh, well, welcome to all of them, young and old. And I hope that the old have happy memories, and I hope the young are understanding how important happy memories are.
Indeed.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you and good morning.
See it happening, but I just know that the way they transplanted it, if you like, they did it very, very carefully, because they placed things that as they were at Expo, and there they are.
Oh, and then I heard your voice.